Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. Welcome to another edition of the show. Today is all about WandaVision on Disney streaming series review. We've got Chris Allo and Rich Catino joining me here today. Thanks, guys, for jumping on to talk a little bit about this cool show that just ended a couple of weeks ago. We now have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I guess at the end of that, we'll kind of do this all again. But we've had a bunch of people who have been asking for our thoughts on that series. So figured we'd do a quick little show just to kind of hash it all out. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen WandaVision in its entirety, you may want to wait till you watch this because we're going to talk about everything that happened on the show. So we'll have Mr. Catino kick us off with, since you just finished it today,
I did.
Give us some of your thoughts. So what did you think about the show overall?
I really enjoyed it. It's very different. Like they always say that people say that a lot of the Marvel movies are like the same. You know, they have the same kind of style and vibe and feel and emotion and all that stuff. And I don't think they do. I think they all kind of are a little different from each other. They have a artistic similarity, definitely, you know, but tone and everything, I think they're all pretty, especially character-wise, are different from each other. And the Wanda one, I thought it was going to be kind of corny the way it started.
Well, that first episode, right? I think we were all kind of like, what is this, right?
Yeah, it's very, well, they're different sitcoms, you know, as she goes through her vision of what she'd like to have with her life with Vision, you know. But as it goes along, it gets darker. And then when Sword comes in, that really shows you the perspective of what they're trying to, you know, figure out with her story, and you're getting her story. You know, that's how you get it. You know, with this series, it's really her backstory, and trying to bring Vision back to life because she wants him back in her life and with the kids. So I thought it was really cool. Like I said in the beginning, I was a little questionable, but then as the series went along, the episodes went along, Sword gets more involved. They're poking in. They got they're peering in. They're like the fly on the wall, and she doesn't realize it. Well, for a few episodes, then she figures it out. I thought it was cool by the end. I got a couple questions, so maybe you guys can answer them after you talk about your feelings about the show, because I never really read the comic book, so I was never really a fan of her or Vision, really. Cool characters, but never read it, so I'm a little unfamiliar, but I'm aware of it because of the universe, you know?
Yeah, I'll toss in a couple of things right here, and then we'll go to Chris. But yeah, I mean, for me, as a lover of 60s, 70s, and early 80s Marvel, that's basically, when it comes to the comic books, that's my sweet spot. I mean, back in the day, she's a mutant, right? She is the daughter of Magneto. Her and Quicksilver are mutants. They're the daughter. They're the son and daughter of Magneto.
On that, they never say it in the series, though.
No, well, they haven't gone there, right? And whether they're
you know, she has parents, but they don't say that her parents were mutants. They just say that she had parents and she has a brother, and she talks about her brother the second to last episode, or the one before that, maybe. I forgot what it was. But you know that there's two different brothers. And that's alluded to. It's
complicated.
That's alluded to in the story too, right? Don't they say that?
I mean, that goes further than the story. That goes to the different production companies that were doing the X-Men stuff.
Right. I was going to say the MCU version of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they were not the children of Magneto, whereas in the 20th Century Fox version of the X-Men, it's definitely heavily implied when they and I forget which movie it is. It might be First Class.
No, she's never in it. It's just
she's not in it. But Quicksilver says, "Oh yeah, you can do stuff with magnets." My mom says she used to know a guy that did that. Like, you know, so it's implied that Magneto is the father of Quicksilver, but it's never said, and that was some kind of rights thing, and I forget the details. But that's why why Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are not mutants. Were originally not mutants in the MCU. They got their powers from the testing with Baron Zemo or whoever the fuck it was. And so it was a different thing. But then I thought the coolest thing in the new show was that they brought in the Quicksilver from the Fox universe, but then it really totally sucked when you find out he's Ralph Boner. I'm like, how fucking lame is that? That was terrible.
That's just as bad as the Mandarin thing from Iron Man
100%.
2 or 3,
I
right?
mean, the Mandarin is Iron Man's Joker, and then you literally make a joke out of him. I was like, this is ridiculous.
So go ahead, Pete. I don't want to interrupt you, but I had a
Oh
question.
yeah, so I mean that's where this gets so complicated because like in the X-Men First Class universe, Quicksilver Pietro does not even have a sister. So it's almost like she doesn't exist. And yet when they introduce Wanda,
I think he did have a sister, but she was
her,
younger.
though, right?
And it's not, you know, she's younger and
Not her.
Yeah, and it's not obviously not superpowers.
And they kill off Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. So right. So it's like, and now and then they bring him back for the show, but yet he's the same actor as the one from the Fox universe. Really weird, right? How they did it. It just so it goes to show you how complicated it is now. But I think the purpose of this show was all to reintroduce her as a force to be reckoned with and give her the spotlight that she probably never really got in all these Avengers films, because she's been kind of like she's just there. She really hasn't had much to do in some of these Avengers films. I think this was the step to, because what they're trying to do for this next wave in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, all right, so Thor and Captain America and Iron Man and Hulk, they're all going to start to take a back seat. We're going to build up Captain Marvel. We're going to build up Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, whoever else. Those are going to be the new main heroes. So I think this was the first step in doing that.
Which again is no different than they did in the original comics in the 60s.
Absolutely.
When they introduced the Vision and Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, and they replaced Hulk and Iron Man and Thor.
Yep. It's really no different.
Yeah.
It's really no different. It's just, they're just doing it in the films now, whereas they used to do it in the comics. And I will admit, after the first 2 episodes of this, I was almost ready to give up, because I'm like, I don't understand what this kind of black and white hokey sitcom remake stuff is. I'm like, this is not what I was, but then if you stayed with it and you watch that 3rd episode, all of a sudden now you're like, all right. So then all of a sudden you see Kat, what's her face's character, come in. She was from Thor. You start to see Jimmy Woo, whatever his name is. He's from the Ant-Man show. All of a sudden they're starting to bring in these elements that we're familiar with. And you're like, okay, this obviously has a much bigger storyline going on other than this like weird sitcom thing that we're seeing. And that's when it started to get really interesting by episode 3. And that's when they had me pretty much.
Yeah, so I like the show until the end. I thought the show was good. It was different. Everything you guys said. I like that it was short. A lot of time I'm like, where the hell is this going? But then at the end, I just wanted more. And maybe that's just me being a fan with fan expectations. But, I know the Scarlet Witch character is going to be in Doctor Strange 2. So I thought we would get it. Yeah, I thought we were going to get a Doctor Strange cameo. He's mentioned when what's her name says like, oh, the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. But that's all we got. Absolutely.
The Dark Witch. What was her name?
Agatha.
Yeah, Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I really liked all that thing too with her story with the witches when she was on a stake.
That was cool.
She sucks the life out of them, and then Wanda reverses it, and she reverses it on her, and she gets into her head, and she does goes back to that time period with her when she kills the other witches. I thought that was cool.
That was really cool. For me, she didn't seem like big baddie worthy. Right, because she never really was that in the comics. And I know if you guys were reading like all these different fan sites,
all the fan theories,
everybody was screaming for Mephisto.
Yes,
everybody.
Yes, I remember
that would have been perfect, because I really thought this was the way I thought this was going to lay out. Is I thought they introduced her, they revealed her, but she wasn't going to be the big baddie. The big baddie was going to be Mephisto, and somehow they were going to bring Doctor Strange in the final episode, lead you perfectly into Doctor Strange and the multiverse movie that's coming out like next year or whatever, and leave you on a cliffhanger. And they didn't do that at all.
Nope.
They didn't do that at all. It's like there was no really big baddie. There was no Doctor Strange. Everything just kind of like ended, and we'll see the Doctor Strange movie, and somehow she's going to be, Wanda's going to be a part of all that.
Right.
And it's like, okay. The only thing they did do, and again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, they basically, instead of leading you into that next Doctor Strange movie, they basically led us into the next Captain Marvel movie.
Yes, exactly. I was gonna say though, I know I didn't like the Quicksilver thing. That sucked.
Yeah.
I didn't like that there was no Doctor Strange. There was a fan theory that that we were going to see Reed Richards. That didn't happen. There was no pulling in the X-Men thing, and then ultimately, I just hated that Marvel did what Marvel always does, and it's this doppelganger thing that they are fucking obsessed with. When Batman fights the Joker, they're not the same guy. But when we get these Marvel movies, like 9 times out of 10, the hero is fighting the doppelganger of himself. So we've got Captain America that fights the Winter Soldier. We've got Hulk versus the gamma radiation abomination. We've got the good Black Panther versus the evil Black Panther. I mean, it's the same. Iron Man has to fight the Ironmonger. It's
and you
the
got
same.
Vision fighting the
So right, so we get to this show, and what do we got? We got Scarlet Witch fighting another witch, and we got the Vision fighting another version of the Vision.
Right.
I'm like, seriously, guys, you can't come up with anything better than that.
That's true. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that is true. Yep.
It's confusing with the guy that played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, and then the one that was in the Marvel movies, because they talk about both of them in the series. I'm correct.
They show him too. They show was it Aaron Taylor Johnson or something like that?
Yeah.
Somebody said
Godzilla.
about,
we talked about that. It's the same.
Somebody said something about him getting the holes.
Yeah, he gets shot, and they show a quick clip of it.
Yeah.
Right, and then they talk about the other brother who's in the show. I forgot how they refer to him, but he's referred to also as being the other brother or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, is that just hinting at the multiverse, which is the multiverse of madness that's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie? I don't know.
Why else would you bring the same actor from the X-Men universe?
Right. Is that just hinting at, yes, we can pull them in now because now we have the multiverse of madness? I don't know.
Who knows?
Follow? Does that sound correct to me?
You would think.
I mean, that's what I assumed, right? But,
yeah.
You would think.
I don't know.
I mean, it was a real letdown to find out that it's not some kind of alternate thing. It's a guy that looks like him.
But he still moved fast in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
He moved like Quicksilver, so I thought.
That's a good point. I don't know.
So maybe it was him.
I will say he's great in that role. I really like him in that role.
He is.
Me too.
I like him much better than the other guy that's in the Marvel.
Yeah.
Agreed. The other guy, he never looked. Yeah.
Right. But when he was zipping around in the show, I was like, okay, so it's Quicksilver without saying that the X-Men are now in the universe, I guess.
Yeah.
And I loved, I'm sure Pete, you like this too, when they did the episode where they all had the comic accurate costumes.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. I remember that. Yeah. That was
super cool. That was,
I
guess, the Halloween episode.
I remember the costumes. That was
cool.
Even though that original Scarlet Witch costume is kind of ridiculous looking now today, but it's iconic, and Elizabeth Olsen looks
yeah, totally.
But they updated it at the end when she leaves and she's in the costume, and they just put more classic, a classic look to it, but it was more updated.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great how they finally called her the Scarlet Witch. I'm like, Jesus, how many years are we waiting for this? Just fucking say it already.
Right. I mean, at this point, do they even call Hawkeye, or they still just call him Clint, right? I mean,
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Never really heard him call him Clint. I mean, Hawkeye.
Right. I don't think they have.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think so.
I will say what this show did really well is it gave Elizabeth Olsen something to do in this character, and she was awesome.
She was great, yeah.
But I will tell you, Paul Bettany is so good as Vision.
He's great too.
He's just such a great actor. He brings so much class to the role. And if you were a reader of Marvel back in the late 60s and into the 70s, the Vision character is pretty cold. He doesn't joke around. He's got no real personality. They gave him that in these films, especially in this show, which I thought was pretty cool. So,
well, I was wondering, Pete, if they were going to do like some kind of thing like they, if I remember right, like, okay, but wait, the Vision, didn't he get like the memories or the mind of Wonder Man? Like didn't Wonder Man die and they put that in the Vision and that's how they get the Vision, but then they bring Wonder Man back to life?
So the real history of Vision is not like in the movies where, Tony Stark didn't create Vision. Ultron actually created the Vision android from like cells and some DNA from dead Wonder Man. So in essence, him and Sam, whatever Wonder Man's real name is, they're like kind of like brothers in a weird way.
Right.
And he was dead at the time. So when he comes back to life, when Wonder Man comes back to life, there's this kind of thing between the two of them because they are kind of related. But yeah, it's weird how that all happened. And they kind of change. I can see where they changed that a little bit. But and then also too, the whole Mephisto thing in the comic. And again, this is after the time where I stopped reading it. This happened either in the 80s or the early 90s. The kids that they wind up having has something to do with Mephisto.
Yes, I vaguely remember. And I was telling the missus, like, I remember from that 12-issue Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries, like they had some kind of weird mutant babies, but like something kind of happened with them, but I couldn't remember what.
Yeah, the Mephisto was involved in that whole thing. So that's why a lot of people thought when they introduced the two kids that he was going to be involved. But then as we saw it play out, the kids were just a part of this whole creation of this imaginary town that she did. They weren't actually real, so to speak, right? So when she decided to put the kibosh on the whole thing, everybody in that town, who was already alive beforehand goes back to their normal lives. And the kids were actually kind of created specifically for that whole scenario, so to speak.
And speaking of the imaginary town, the thing that the force shield, whatever you want to call, what's the thing called that's around the town that keeps everybody out and everybody
yeah, they named it.
Yeah, but that energy field, when Monica Rambeau goes through it, she gets some kind of powers too.
Yes. Well, she was in the comics, she was Captain Marvel.
The second
she was the
one,
female.
right?
She was the second female. Yeah, right. She was the first female, but the second Captain Marvel. So and she had the white suit and a giant afro.
Yeah.
And I remember her in the
alluding to that too, or
yes.
are they alluding to that, or are they bypassing that?
Well, I mean, here's where it gets complicated again, because in the movies, all right, so you've got Carol Danvers in the film is Captain Marvel. And the original Captain Marvel is what's her face, who's married to Warren Beatty, I forget her name, that actress. She is the original Marvel from the Kree, whereas in the comic, Marvel was a guy. Okay, Carol Danvers was a scientist who winds up falling in love with him. She eventually gets these powers and becomes Ms. Marvel. So they're bypassing that whole Ms. Marvel thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Carol Danvers is Captain Marvel. Now you've got Monica Rambeau, who is the daughter of Carol Danvers' best friend, now grown up. So she's got these powers. But in the comics, she also becomes Captain Marvel and then becomes Photon. So I don't know whether they're going to bypass the Captain Marvel thing and have her be Photon, because now that she crossed through the dome, right? Like Stephen King's Under the Dome type of thing, she now has these powers that she's now going to be a superhero, which they're going to obviously get into in the next Captain Marvel movie. So of course, at the end of the show, she meets one of the characters is one of the Skrulls, and they're going to go up to Nick Fury and company are up in some satellite somewhere. So that was my big frustration about this. As cool as that was, that they totally led into the next Captain Marvel movie. And I don't know which is coming out first, Captain Marvel or Doctor Strange. I don't know. But they perfectly gave you the lead into that, whereas they didn't do anything for the Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, right. And I was going to say, Marvel is doing Miss Marvel, but it's going to be the modern Miss Marvel, which is, I believe she's like a young girl from Indian descent.
Yeah, I think so.
But so they're bypassing a lot from the comics.
Yeah.
So
and no way they're going to make this.
Girl, she might as well be. Who did you say she is, Pete? What's her character?
Photon. She's going to have to be Photon.
I'm sure that's where they're going to go.
Marvel's only got one movie in, and she's only been in 2 other Marvel movies.
Right, and that Captain Marvel movie was a huge hit. They're not going to fuck with that.
So she's like brand new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't introduce another one.
Yeah. So, and there's been talk again. I don't know if this is set in stone yet, but isn't there talk of them doing a show with Nick Fury and the Skrulls?
That's what I
in
heard.
outer space, right?
Yep, I did hear that.
Really?
Is that a show or a movie? I don't remember where they're
I
at.
thought it was a show, and this would lead into that perfectly.
Yeah, so maybe that's where that's going to go, as opposed to the Captain Marvel film.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
So who knows?
And that was the last time I think we saw Nick Fury, right? He was in space with the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
I mean,
funny
they
how
did it well
this-
with they did it well with Wanda and Vision. I thought they explained a lot of her backstory. I thought it was good.
Yeah, they did, and that was good. Yeah, they made her a pretty important character in this,
Mhm.
which was pretty neat. And it, it was interesting. It was interesting to see the again, I forget her name. Darcy, is that it? Cat
Yeah,
Darcy.
Darcy.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if they throw her back into the next Thor film, or what role she's going to have and everything. And then
Right.
Jimmy Woo, and I also thought this was interesting too. They have this whole like group called Sword, but yet there's no mention of Shield at all in this entire.
Yeah, they didn't
Yes.
mention that. I noticed that. It's like they go right from Shield to Sword.
Yeah,
I'm talking about it.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll do it in Falcon Winter Soldier. Maybe.
Well, I almost thought they were not mentioning Shield because they had how many seasons of that TV show,
Yeah.
and the MCU Marvel wants to distance themselves from that because that wasn't their creation.
Mhm.
So that was my thinking.
But who knows? But Shield has been an important part of all the movies.
Yes,
that's why I think
correct.
it's very strange, right?
100%.
I mean, Shield has been a big part of Marvel Comics for decades. I mean, it's like they're always there. Well, we'll
But
see.
at the same time, it is weird how Samuel Jackson was a big part of the Marvel movies early on, and
not
then
so
they
much.
kind of, okay, he had a big part in Captain Marvel, but other than that, he hasn't
Yeah.
been doing much.
You know what it is? I love Sam Jackson. He's awesome. He really is. But in the comic, Nick Fury is a complete
Yeah,
badass.
true.
He is a don't take no bullshit, wisecracking, cigar chomping, just total badass. And like I said, I don't have an issue with Samuel Jackson playing the character, but I just never thought they gave him enough to do. He's just, you listen to him talk and act in these films, and I'm like, yeah, that's not really the Nick Fury I know.
Oh, they made him a total goof in Captain Marvel, and then he loses his eye from the cat. I mean, that was so
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's like,
I hope if they do the Multiverse of Madness, they bring back David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
oh God.
That's supposed to be coming out this year, right?
I think it's next year.
Is it now?
Yeah,
I got
I don't.
next
I
year.
mean,
I think it's Q1 next year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I guess now it's official. They're releasing Black Widow in
Black Widow, in I think July.
July. Yeah.
For $30
That's
on
gonna be
Disney
going to
Plus.
TV, right? Isn't that going to whatchamacallit?
Theaters
Disney Plus
and
plus $30.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a pay-per-view, or you could see it in the theater. Unlike what Warner Brothers is doing, where they're doing the same thing but no extra charges if you have HBO Max.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah, $30
Doctor
is a
Strange
lot.
Doctor Strange is next year, March 25th. So far.
So
Yeah, so
about a
far
year-
that could totally change.
yeah, almost a year to the day. Yeah.
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 Interesting.
So we're only
But
getting
yeah.
one Marvel film out this year. Black Widow.
So what's the deal with Eternals?
No
Oh,
idea.
that's supposed to come out this year too, right? Let me see.
I thought that was this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, later maybe.
because that was supposed
But,
to come out next November.
I was gonna say they keep moving Black Widow.
Yeah.
So I guess it's, let's do one movie at a time. Black Widow was the next one in the shoot. Let's once we get that one actually released, then they'll, I guess, work on the next one.
I don't see a date.
No.
Oh wait, November 5th, 2021.
Okay.
Okay.
Sweet.
And that could be.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
that's good. I'm looking forward to it. That could be a surprise sleeper for them. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers
Kinda
crossed.
like
Yeah, I
Guardians of
didn't
the
love
Galaxy, right?
WandaVision.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy, that was their sleeper hit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
And then what's the other one, Shang-Chi. That's the other one that's supposed to be coming out.
Oh, yeah. I
That's the
tell you,
other one.
potentially that could be an absolute blockbuster for them.
That could be. That's September of this year. So that's still
Oh,
on schedule.
really? So they moved that up
Interesting.
before Eternals? Wow.
So
But
that's
that would
still on
mean
schedule.
Marvel would have 3 movies in 6 months. That's a lot.
Wow. But they haven't had anything in over a year. So yeah.
True.
And I
Oh,
guess
I didn't know they pushed Shang-Chi up. Wow. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I will predict that I think Shang-Chi could be huge for them because people still like martial arts films. And I think if they, the guy who's the lead, who's playing Shang-Chi is a up and coming young Asian actor. And I think if this film, and again, we're going to get the real Mandarin.
Oh, in this movie?
Oh yeah. So here's
cool.
the deal. So in the comic, this is we're totally getting off track here, but in the comic, Shang-Chi's father is Fu Manchu. Okay. Because of, Fu Manchu is seen as a really stereotypical character, and there are rights issues with being able to use the Fu Manchu character because he's kind of obviously, the whole backstory of that. So what they've decided to do, instead of having Fu Manchu be the main villain in the Shang-Chi series, and again, whether or not they're going to have the Mandarin be his father or just be the bad guy, the Mandarin is going to be the main villain in the Shang-Chi film. And he is, from what I understand, he is going to be an Asian actor, which is the way it should be.
Yeah,
Is the way it should
100%.
be.
Is
100%.
Shang-Chi connected to the Avengers, and how's he connected to the universe? He's another character I really don't know much about.
He's not connected. He's just
He's a
Standalone
kung fu
character?
guy.
yeah. The Master of Kung Fu comic back in the 70s was basically kind of like a James Bond storyline. All right. So here you had this this human weapon, okay, martial arts expert, big time, Shang-Chi, young guy who is the estranged son of Fu Manchu, who obviously is a criminal. And Shang-Chi winds up hooking up with this British crime organization who's looking to bust and capture Fu Manchu. Okay, so basically the group that he's working with is kind of like the James Bond, the group that James Bond worked with and all the films, very similar to that. So it's all these like kind of like assassins and, guys who specialize in putting stop to espionage and all this kind of, underground crime and stuff like that. So that whole series was basically that organization trying to put an end to the reign of terror of Fu Manchu, and they employ Fu Manchu's son to help them out with that. So it's really cool stuff. It's totally not superhero-y at all. So this could be a really cool kind of like action adventure, crime thriller type of a movie if they do it right.
So how would he be incorporated into Phase 4 then if he's not part of the Avengers? Why are they throwing him in there?
Well,
That's-
not everything needs to, tie
Right off
back
the
to the
bat,
Avengers.
yeah.
Yeah.
They may eventually move him into that, but right off the bat,
Right.
there's no way they can.
Okay.
Again, unless they do something completely different here, I don't know. But if they do it the right way, if they start him off that way and then eventually somewhere down the road introduce him, I mean, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when they announced Shang-Chi and the Eternals, I mean, I collected comics off and on from the 70s to the 2000s. I just scratched my head going, holy shit, are they scraping the barrel? I go, what's next? A Brother Voodoo movie? I'm like, how about the Two Gun Kid? Are we going to give him a fucking movie next? I'm like, Jesus.
Well, we're getting a Moon Knight series, right? So it's like
Well, Moon Knight's a lot
Looking
better.
forward to that. I'm so looking forward to that.
I don't know,
Especially
I still think they need to. I mean,
Those other
granted, I'm still, and again, this is a subject for another discussion, but I love those Netflix shows, especially like Daredevil and The Punisher, and I
Right.
like Luke Cage too. And I've heard rumors that Daredevil, the guy Charlie Cox,
I heard that
Matt
too.
Murdock, is going to be in the next Spider-Man film. That's what I heard.
Yep.
they have the rights back to all of them. So
They have them all. Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
just
surprised
waiting
if
for the right time.
they don't appear in the new movies coming up. I mean, they should.
Yeah. Could you imagine like The Punisher as an R-rated film?
Well, they did it that one time, that Punisher Warzone.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Right?
That was my favorite of all the Punisher
Oh,
movies.
yeah, it was good. And the show was pretty brutal too.
Yeah, I thought I liked the show.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
The universe keeps expanding, right?
It keeps expanding, but you know what? I won't be completely happy till we get a damn good Fantastic Four film and I want
Yeah.
to see the Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, and Galactus done the right way. That's what I
Well,
really
I mean, that's to me, that's really the last two really big cards in the deck for Marvel is a really good X-Men movie in this universe and a really good Fantastic Four movie in this universe.
Well, haven't they hinted at Fantastic Four coming to the universe in the last Spider-Man movie, correct? With the sign that was on the wall. I've seen that little Easter egg.
That I don't remember.
It has like numbers on it and says 1, 2, 3, 4, something like
they
that.
show
It's
the
got
Baxter
numbers.
building in one of the shots, right?
Oh, do they see? I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
And then there was a thing on one of the billboards or something. It's got like numbers. I saw that as an Easter egg that alludes to the fact that, or the street name where the Fantastic Four building is, I think.
Yeah, I
It
think
was
they had the street
Spider-Man.
name and they had the building there. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Well, listen, it could be, you know, just like when they bring in the guy that played Quicksilver, and then it's not the fucking guy that was Quicksilver. So he was literally a boner.
That would be a
So,
terrible, terrible trick if they do that for Fantastic Four.
but I'm sure they're, you know, but to me, that's like you said, Pete, that'd be great. And if done right, it'll be awesome. And because it's like, all right, we already got 4 Fantastic Four movies and they all sucked. I honestly think the best of the 4
Roger Corman one
is the Roger Corman movie. And I watched it twice last summer. And I was like, yeah, it's the fucking best one.
It's pretty good. It's goofy, as low
Yeah.
budget as it is. I mean, I like the was it the Rise of the Silver Surfer film? I think
Yeah, that
that's
wasn't
Yeah,
bad.
that was better than the first one.
That wasn't
right.
bad.
Yeah, but that last one they did,
Oh God,
that's awful.
awful.
That's really
Awful.
good. Yeah.
Unwatchable.
Yeah, unwatchable.
We'll see. I still stand by my theory that I think the best way to introduce them and to explain like why they haven't been around and why they didn't help out with all this, the New York thing and Thanos and all that kind of stuff is that they have been trapped in the negative zone for the last X amount of years. And somehow they're going to get pulled out of that negative zone by whoever, maybe Doctor Strange, as he's flown through the
Just like
multiverse,
Doctor
goes
Strange,
into the
yeah.
negative zone. Boom.
I like
Here
that.
these, right? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
What
it
was
would be
in-
great to see them out and in costume and in the
Yeah.
fantastic car and ready to go, rather than oh God, it's another 2-hour origin movie and
We don't
I
need
don't
that.
want to see
we
Ben
don't
and
need
Reed
that.
in college again and
No.
all that
Yeah, We
crap.
don't need that. And isn't the Doctor Strange movie also supposed to open it up for the Moon Knight show, Blade, Morbius, who am I missing? All the darker characters. Aren't they supposed
Yeah.
to become Ghost
be.
Rider? Aren't they supposed to be all coming in now as well with this film?
Could be.
I don't know whether with the film or not, but I know there are like the Morbius. Well, I think Morbius is getting his own film, but that's going to be in the
And
Venom.
the Sony Spider-Verse,
Sony
the Sony
Spider-Man
Venomverse,
thing,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever you want to call
But
it.
Blade, I think Blade is Marvel's.
Blade is MCU, so
Blade
it
is-
gets complicated because Sony has all the Spider-Man characters, which would be Morbius. That's why he's getting that movie.
Yeah.
And I think, that's if I'm not mistaken, that's why the new Spider-Man movie, right? It was what was it? What was the first one?
Homecoming.
Homecoming, right? Because that was the bringing back the character to Marvel, and then the next one was
Far From Home.
Far From Home, and now the new one is like Never Going Home
Something like
because
that,
it's the last one for under contract.
Yeah.
So after that, it's going to be interesting if Sony takes it over and if they do anything with their universes.
yeah. Isn't he making a cameo in Venom versus Carnage? That's the rumor.
Who knows?
Who
I
knows?
mean,
Rumor on the
there
streets.
was rumors of him doing a cameo in the Venom movie, and obviously that didn't happen.
I mean,
happen.
he's got to be in a Venom movie at
He's
some
got
point.
to.
It's
How do you-
they're
how does he
tied
not?
together from
Yeah,
the. I mean,
100%.
It's like
I
having
mean, I
a
thought they were
Venom-
crazy to do a Venom movie without Spider-Man,
it.
and obviously they did, and it worked, and they made a lot of money.
yeah. And we haven't even talked about Deadpool and how he fits into this whole thing.
How does he fit? That's true. How does that lunatic fit into all this?
It's true.
I've heard they're bringing him in sooner than later, though, regardless of
Yeah.
where they put him.
That's cool.
Because you can, it's because they've already brought him in as part of the mutant verse, but could you could you introduce him, kind of reboot him a little bit in a
Oh, totally.
non-mutant
And
type
then, I mean, he's the perfect guy to make jokes on screen. Wait, which universe am I in?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they could just make him PG-13. He doesn't have to be rated R.
No. See, I think they should keep him R.
He could still be edgy.
Dude, that's nah. See, I disagree. I think they should
I don't
push
want
it.
to water. You can't water him down anymore,
You
right?
can't. You
No,
can't.
his own movie should be rated R. But when he crosses over PG-13, I think he'd be okay.
Well, you can still have him be a little edgy. I mean, you know, it's.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think you could have him in the Avengers movie in a PG-13 setting. But if you're doing a Deadpool movie, you
he's got to
gotta
be
keep
rated
it
R.
R.
Absolutely. No, that's
Yeah, you gotta keep
I mean,
it
quite
R.
frankly, if you're gonna be, you know, we've talked about a lot of the stuff that's coming down the pike. I mean, Punisher, however they reintroduce him again, whether it's in a show or in a movie, it's got to be R.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's got to be R. That's
Moon Knight's
got to
gotta
be
be R,
dark
too.
Batman type of stuff. That's got to be R. Blade has got to be R.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Agreed.
Morbius has got to be R.
Yeah,
Can't- you can't
that's
do-
going to be interesting. I bet you Sony does a PG-13 on that one.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you know what? Because most horror stuff that gets released nowadays. But you know what? I don't know if you guys saw the Swamp Thing show on the Disney
Yeah, I did.
streaming
I
service.
didn't. I heard it was good.
That was great, and that
Yeah.
was our horror. That was
Yeah.
Okay.
that was really good. I couldn't believe like how far into the horror genre they went with that, and that they pulled no punches with that.
Wow.
yeah,
That's
I'll
what
have
I would
check
like
that
to
out.
see.
Creature looked great. He
in
looked great too.
Blade or Morbius or any of these horror kind. You know, I mean, I would love to
Mhm.
see a Werewolf by Night or a Man Thing.
Oh, that'd be
the right
great.
way. I mean,
Man Thing would be great.
Man thing, yeah,
because that movie, man, was like,
Oh, that Man Thing movie was awful.
awful. Wasn't that made for like Sci-Fi Channel or something?
I think it was made for like $8.
Not even a
so
channel,
bad.
right? Just $8.
and Man Thing is one of my favorite characters of all
Right.
time. And it's like, and I was so crushed by how bad that film was.
That was terrible.
Ah,
That is one of those what the fuck moments. Like, why are you paying anybody for any kind of rights and then fucking the whole thing up?
terrible.
Yeah.
They show him for like 3 seconds,
Yep.
and he's just like this totally bad creature, and then they kill him at the end. I'm like, what?
Somebody
What?
should have told the people when they were making the Wolverine movie that when they tried to introduce Deadpool,
Oh God, yeah.
right? The first
Talk
time around,
about-
what was that called?
That was
or
the
something?
Wolverine's Origins or something.
The
right?
Wolverine, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
I don't remember. It was the
I don't
Wolverine one
remember.
when they were in
It's-
Japan. I don't even remember now.
No. It was the one before
No.
that.
Yeah.
It was the one where they
It was
stuck
the-
in Deadpool at the end with his mouth closed and everything.
Yeah, that was the Wolverine Origins.
Origins, yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, because the one in Japan was just the Wolverine, which was
That was
really
X-Men-
good until like the
X-Men
last
Origins?
20 minutes.
X-Men Origins then, right?
X-Men Origins
Yes, that's what
Wolverine.
it's
I think
called,
that's it.
X-Men or yeah, Wolverine. Yep.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
not
that's terrible.
that was not Deadpool, right? That's
Yeah. But that is the perfect though, like example of how film executives
Yeah.
did not want to take what was behind them. No. We're going to take the character. We're just going to take the name and we're going to change
Rush into
everything.
something. Yeah.
Fuck it all up.
Yeah. And we're going to fuck it all up and it's not going to work. Yeah.
They never
I
learned.
think
their
they
lesson.
learned a hard lesson from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a perfect example. Deadpool. Let's take the merc with the mouth, but let's zip his mouth shut.
Right.
How's he supposed to eat?
And not put him in his costume and you don't even know who it is.
Yeah, let's put him in some red makeup and like take his mouth away.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And give him laser beams. They should have had like rockets coming out of his eyes.
Oh man.
I'm telling you, they should hire us as writers. I think because
Totally.
Right? Creative control. son.
Couldn't be any worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine. And I still saw it in the movies.
so did I,
Yeah, it was
I
God.
thought
Yeah.
we did too.
and I own
remember.
the Blu-ray. So yeah, it's,
See, that I didn't do. I was like,
I didn't do
I
that.
know I
I
have
couldn't
all
go
of
that
them.
far.
I have all of
Yeah, I
them.
didn't do it.
That's funny. It's a curse.
It's a curse. It definitely is.
I avoid the curse sometimes. Sometimes I just can't do it.
You're a better man than me,
I
Rich.
have to have I can live with an incomplete collection if it's crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
If it's really bad, like you know what? So believe it or not, I have been like, I don't know why I even thought of it today. I was like, So when that latest Wonder Woman comes out on Blu-ray, do I get it?
oh,
Nope,
that's a
I'm
no
against
for
it.
me. That's a hard pass.
I
There's a
didn't really
line-
enjoy it, but I'm actually I'm thinking, should I? or
The
shouldn't I?
line is in the sand. I'm not going over it.
Not
I
going
could
on?
not wait for that movie to end. Now
I
that
wanted
movie,
it. I wanted
That
to
was
be great.
2 hours, but that felt like 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I wanted that to be so good.
Oh, me too. Yeah, that was terrible. But I would buy Justice League on 4K.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'd buy
Yeah,
that.
I would buy that. I didn't buy the first one though. The theatrical, I did not buy.
Yeah, see that one I did buy, but I think I only watched it
I
once.
didn't. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, we've gone quite far away from
Yeah, I was gonna say from WandaVision.
we talked about WandaVision for 10 minutes and we talked about everything else for
the
20.
umbrella. I think we're good.
So there you have it, everybody. So feel free to give your thoughts on WandaVision in the comments below, and and your thoughts on any of the upcoming Marvel stuff that we've talked about today.
Especially Two Gun Kid, the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Two Gun Kid, Wood God. What other weird characters do we have? All the obscure stuff, right? Why
The
not?
Rawhide Kid, was that another one?
That was another one. Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to dig back in the 70s.
There were a lot of Western characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do you remember? Was it White Wolf? Was it White Wolf? The Indian guy who wore the wolf mask.
I don't remember. It sounds like a good one though.
Oh, Red Wolf, not White Wolf. Red Wolf.
Red
was
Wolf.
the
Okay,
character.
that sounds.
What's the
Yeah,
guy's
it was like
name that was in the
Marvel
Justice
had all the Western ones, and DC had all the World War II comics.
Yeah.
What about the guy, the Justice League guy, the cowboy? What was his name?
The cowboy.
Was there a cowboy?
Oh, the guy that's in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Jonah Hex?
No, not Jonah Hex. There was a
No,
guy.
it was
He had a
a
white
cowboy.
hat
Oh,
And
that
a-
guy. Yes, that guy.
and a red bandana. I can't
Yeah,
remember his
He
name.
was a cowboy. I never saw that
Yeah.
guy before. It's like, who's this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Justice League had a lot of weird,
A lot of weird
weird members
characters.
at times. Yeah.
That was a great show, though. I love that show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, before we start talking about now the old
Yeah.
Justice
Right.
League
That'll be
cartoons,
another
we're gonna
show.
get totally off the rails. So thanks everybody for watching here at Comic Book Geezers. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We've got brand new shows happening every Wednesday and Friday. Wild Bill's coming back next episode on Friday, so stay tuned for that. I want to thank Chris Allo and Rich Catino from over on Sea of Tranquility for joining us here today. I am Pete, so we'll see you all real soon. Take care. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.